views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome, 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 welcome. You're always welcome. No line, no wait. Welcome to Open BXRX. In fact, we have another fantastic show lined up for you today. Coming up on today's show, we'll hear from the executive director of a nonprofit organization about their vision for uplifting our community. And then we'll hear from another great organization about some of the opportunities they're opening up in our community. Then we'll sit down with a member of the faith-based organization, and they're going to be bridging the gap, the communication gap for people from all over the world. Plus Bobby C, you know, he's here with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll speak to an author about the most recent edition of his book series, focusing on New York City traffic and parking laws. You know, we've got a lot. All of this and more headed your way. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Here we go. We're open. Dr. Bob Lee, I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, leading things off, I have a friend. She's a guest, Nancy D. Miller, the executive director and CEO of Visions. And she has a vision, and we want to find out all about it. Nancy, tell us about Visions.
Thank you so much for having me. Visions is celebrating its 95th anniversary, and I have been with the agency for exactly 50 years, which is hard to believe, but it's been a wonderful experience working with people who are blind, visually impaired, and multi-disabled.
Yeah, and you also started a partnership about a couple of weeks ago, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, we did. We have a special partnership now with Stop and Shop. They have a give back community bag program, and we're partnering with the Co-op City Stop and Shop at 691 Co-op City Boulevard. Every person who buys one of their give back bags, we will get a donation of $1.
All right.
We're hoping that will help us provide the free services that we provide in every neighborhood in the Bronx.
And how long is this in effect for?
The month of February. It's a perfect Valentine's gift for Valentine's Day. So you can go into Stop and Shop, let them know that you want to support Visions, and buy one of their community give back bags.
Are you guys going to be there in front of the building with banners and waving and talking to people?
Certain days, yes. We may not be there every single day of the month. Just come in February, because that's Visions Month. And we're delighted to have all of our Bronx supporters, our participants, our volunteers, the students that we work with, come and support Stop and Shop and support Visions.
How long has Visions been, you've been doing it for how many years now? Because I think I vaguely heard about it. And I know my producer was telling me about it, but you've been working Visions for how many years now?
So Visions has been in existence for 95 years.
Whoa, okay.
And I have been with Visions for 50 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, but you have a number of other programs that you guys are doing in the community, right?
We do. So we provide free training in people's homes to help them adjust to their vision loss. help them with cooking, cleaning, managing their medication. Especially during COVID, we were helpful in helping people use assistive technology, the accessibility features on their phones, so they could order food or they could order their medications and get them delivered. And our services are provided in 16 different languages. Although Spanish is the most commonly requested, we also offer services in Mandarin, Cantonese, Haitian Creole, and including American Sign Language.
And are you primarily in the Bronx?
We serve all 5 boroughs of New York City, but we concentrate our services in communities of color, especially communities of low income, where the incidence and prevalence rate of vision loss is so much higher. So even though the other boroughs may be larger boroughs, we actually provide a lot of our services in the Bronx itself. Yeah. We have an active volunteer Bronx Westchester Advisory Board, and Gary Axelbank from BronxNet has been a great supporter of ours for decades. And our advisory board is the one who came up with the idea of the community bag program at Stop and Shop. They live and work in the Bronx, and we wanted to support a Bronx business along with supporting Visions as a nonprofit.
Gary, give a big virtual hug out to Gary and then your advisory board too. You want to name some of them, give them a shout out? Who's working with you?
Well, we work with Rosemary DeLuca, who is now retired and the chair of our advisory board. We work with all of the bids, Fordham Road. We work with the Bronx Botanic Gardens. We work with a number of other nonprofits. RAIN is one of our colleagues. So we'll work with anybody who will work with us to get the word out that there is help when you lose vision. Contact us and we will be there to see what we can do to make your life more independent and also help you get jobs or employment if you're looking to work, including older blind people who may have thought they had to retire, but we can help them to stay in the workforce.
Well, we thank you so much for all the work that you're doing in our community. And wow, I mean, we love it. If somebody wants to get involved with your organization or seek a job, where do they go?
So they can call us at our toll-free number, 888-245-8333, or they can email us at info@visionsvcb.org. That's VISIONS, V as in Victor, C as in cat, B as in boy.org.
Wonderful. Visions. Yes. Nancy D. Miller, the Executive Director and CEO of Visions. Thank you for all the work that you're doing in our community. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much and happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, to you and yours too. Thank you. All right, we'll take a break right here. More Open on the way.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee for 107.5 WPLS, and we have a fantastic show. We are in it. We're in the mix right now. Our next guest is the Vice President of Human Resources for BronxWorks. She's with us today to provide important information on BronxWorks. They have a wonderful upcoming job fair that's getting ready to take place. So please welcome to the show, Felicia-Rickett-Samuels. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Bob Lee. It's a pleasure.
Now, tell us all about this. I heard, but I want you to tell it. BronxWorks, what's it all about?
BronxWorks is an amazing nonprofit organization located on East Tremont in the Bronx as our main headquarters, but we have over 37 locations all through the southern region of the Bronx, all the way up to Co-op City and Baychester. So we're located in various communities of color to represent people of color from all walks of life within our day-to-day work.
And what are we offering?
We offer services providing housing services, service regarding pantry, food insecurity, case management service. We are a liaison for folks who are in transition from the shelter programs, now going back to getting their own apartments. We help them with educational, endeavors, as well as workforce development as well. And
do you help them with jobs?
We do. So with our career fair, this is our first one that we're having since I've been onboarded to BronxWorks back in September when I started. So the team and I are going to have a huge affair to welcome all the folks from New York City out to our main location to talk about our openings in case management, openings as security, we call them safety monitors, social workers, youth workers, housing specialists. We have a wide array of openings for folks who are invested in this community, people who are excited about behavioral health. They're excited about change in the borough of the Bronx.
And where's it going to be located?
At 1130 Grand Concourse, which is near 167th. We're in the hardcore area of the Bronx, the pivotal area of the concourse. Please come out. Please come out.
And then you're going to have everything all under one roof. What do people need to bring?
You need to bring plenty of resumes, wear your mask, of course, bring plenty of resumes, come with a smile, come with a firm handshake, and ready to meet our program leadership.
There you go.
Come also with your 2-minute pitch.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right. So practice that 2-minute pitch right about now, and make sure you know all about the organization of the company, that the area that you want to get into, or you know a little bit about it. So when you are interviewed or you do speak to a person, they say, oh, okay, that person knows a little bit about this. Maybe they can fit here. So when they come, you're going to have not only people from different jobs and careers. What else should they expect?
What they will experience, Dr. Bob Lee, they will experience an interactive experience as a job seeker, meeting with program managers, talking about the various roles available, talking about the passion they need to bring to the table to deal with families who are in some of crisis or in need. We need folks who are compassionate, who understand what it is to help others, to leverage themselves in the workforce, to leverage themselves for new housing opportunities, to talk about our pantry services for our adults, our seniors. We need folks who are passionate about working with BronxWorks and giving back.
Yeah. So how many jobs are available?
On our website, currently, we have over 200 opportunities. So people are not competing for roles. We have a lot of opportunity for career growth. So again, people, please come out with your resume ready to have a real conversation.
A real conversation.
A real conversation.
Don't come with something else.
Right.
Be serious about what you want to do.
And BronxWorks is the pillar of the community, and we've been around a long time, so folks know who we are. We have an amazing van that you'll see throughout the Bronx with the logo. Like I'm wearing the BronxWorks blue today. Again, we're excited about bringing folks on. We're excited.
That's good. That's great. That's great. What advice would you give to someone who is a job seeker?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. My advice is to come with your authentic self. Talk about your experience and how to correlate some of your skills. A lot of folks forget about the life skills that matter in a job. If you're a caregiver for your mom or your aunt, how do you correlate that to working with family and children? What you do at home is a real job. And how do you transfer those skills to the workplace?
Yeah. And what's the date of this job fair again?
It's going to be on Wednesday, February 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And at that location?
1130 Grand Concourse, yes.
That's about 163rd?
7th area, 165th, 67th. I'm kind of new to the area, so when I go, I'm generally walking a different direction. So, but definitely you'll see us. We're a huge building on the corner. You know, you can't miss us.
And it's all the information is on the website anyway, right?
It is.
So what website is that? Where do they go?
BronxWorks.org. So if you Google us, you put down BronxWorks and you'll be directed to our webpage. We have a careers page that will talk about all of our openings, how to apply through our ADP system. But the main thing is bring your resume and be ready for a real conversation.
There she is, the Vice President of HR, BronxWorks, Felicia-Rickett-Samuels. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Dr. Bobley. It's a pleasure meeting you.
And always come back and share more. Let us know what's going on.
Sure will.
All right. All right, we'll take a break. I've got more open coming up next. All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. Our next guest, our Congregant and National Spokesman for Jehovah's Witness. Our guest joins us to share her story as an immigrant hailing from the island of Jamaica and found acceptance of her culture through the faith-based community, while our national spokesman highlights how Jehovah's Witness is bringing the global community together. So please welcome to the show, Pamella Krug and Robert J. Henriks III. Welcome, guys.
Thanks very much.
Good
Thanks for having me. Yes.
Tell us all about yourselves. Pamela, so you can start it out.
I was born in Jamaica in the parish of Manchester, Mandeville. Mm-hmm. Many Jamaicans know where that is.
I know where.
You know where that is too, huh? And My parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so I was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. We migrated to the Bronx in the early 1970s. And so I'm from a pretty large family. There are 5 siblings of us, and so we all are Jehovah's Witnesses.
And Robert is here. Robert, how long have you been a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses? And what is your role as the rep?
Well, I've actually, my father was baptized when he was 12 years old in 54. I came into the world and made my own dedication when I was 15. So that was in 1980. So I've been a witness for most of my life. And as the national spokesman for Jehovah's Witnesses, I represent the organization to the media, to government, to academics, just to make sure that the right story is getting out there, that we have good information, the media especially has good information about Jehovah's Witnesses and who we are, and to continue to foster an understanding of our organization and our beautiful people.
Yeah, and I understand that you know a very good friend and colleague of mine.
Oh, I do. In fact, I grew up, because I'm from Long Island, so grew up listening to BLS and listening to Ken Spiderweb. I knew at the time that he was a Jehovah's Witness, but only in the last 10 years did I meet him, and we've become good friends.
Ken Spiderweb, yeah, on WBLS. So you guys are with this wonderful, the Jehovah's Witness, they've been around for many, many, many years, and you guys represent it. How did you get involved in it, Pam?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses from Jamaica.
Yeah.
So when I was 15, I made my personal dedication and became one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
What did you think about it before you got involved?
What did I think about it?
Yeah, because a lot of people see it as people, coming to your door. That the outreach is tremendous.
That is true.
Yeah.
I love Jehovah, the God that we serve.
Yes.
And from an early age, even before I made my personal dedication, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that this was.
People are calling now. They want to get involved. They want to make their dedication.
Yes, that's right. I know that this. Yeah, I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I never had a negative thinking about it. Even if my parents weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, my personal dedication was what counts, because that's something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I feel similar. When I was coming up as a young man, obviously I knew I was different. I knew that I had different practices than others. We didn't celebrate the holidays, and we were a very close spiritual family. But it's a place where I found peace and love, and I always enjoyed knocking on doors, especially when we were able to get inside, get our feet under people's table, and share with them a powerful message. In my life, I've had the privilege of seeing people's lives change, to go 180, and to know that I had a small part in that, and that changing their lives forever is one of the greatest things I've ever accomplished in my life.
Yeah, wow. And I had I still have it. I have a rental property in South Carolina, and I was renting to Jehovah's Witnesses, and we were having church. I pulled up to visit, and there were cars everywhere. And I tell you, we're a wonderful church in there that day. I didn't know what was going on, but I found out that they were Jehovah's Witnesses that day. But it's a lot of people are into it. Ken Webb, we went to bring him a gift early on. He said, "No, I don't celebrate. I'm sorry." And that's what it is. I mean, you have your own way of doing things. And what would you tell other people who are looking to get involved in a tradition?
it's not from our standpoint, there's a lot of traditions in the world, many of which people don't even know why they do it.
Yeah.
The difference between Jehovah's Witnesses and many other religions, and we don't put them down, but what we're trying to do is follow the Bible. And the Bible gives us a solid foundation, a solid rationale for the things that we do and believe, and it helps us to live just a better life. When you're bound with 8.6 million other brothers and sisters who think very similarly, we're unified in 239 countries, when there's a website with 1,052 languages on it, that this is binding the world together and allowing us to unite in a way that's never been possible before in the history of humankind, since the languages were changed back at the Tower of Babel. And to be able to do that, to be able to share the message to so many people, even to those who speak Jamaican patois as an example, or Creole as an example, it's an amazing gift.
Yeah, and I know, Pamela, you had some sort of trouble when you first came to America. You were told not to speak patois in public when you first got here because, tell us why and how did you feel?
Well, it actually started in Jamaica, Bob, because I grew up under the British system, the British way of teaching. And so in school, we were taught not to speak this language called patois. It was looked upon as a broken English. And so they would say, speak proper English.
Yeah.
So because of that, you go farther and further away from it. And moving here to the United States, it didn't allow me to speak my language outside. In the house, I could speak it with my family, my relatives, but on the outside, no, because who would understand it? So for many years, it was stifled.
The same is true in many other languages. The experience is very similar. In fact, one of our sisters expressed this. She said that until we began producing literature in patois, she never spoke to God in her prayers in patois. She didn't think she was allowed. And so the first time she said a prayer in patois, which is the language of her heart, which is what she speaks to herself, which is the language that she loves, her mother tongue. The first time she spoke to her God in patois, she just wept. And that's a very similar situation that we've seen even in Haiti as an example. Haitian Creole was not even, there were no publications in Haitian Creole till like 1996. We were one of the first large-scale organizations to produce Haitian Creole literature. And guess what? It's the second largest foreign language of Jehovah's Witnesses in the United States today.
Yeah, I just got the chills because, God knew you before you got here.
That's right.
And God, you can speak to God in any type of language you want. And God will understand you. And God is a good God. He can, laugh with you, cry with you, do all those things with you. So you can speak to him in any type of language you want to. Tell us about the Jehovah's Witnesses convention. Why was it streaming in Jamaican Creole? Why was that so important to so many people?
It's amazing that you asked that, because really it's a miracle. We shut down our conventions in April 2020. So we typically have 8,000 conventions worldwide, actually 800 in the United States, some 6,000 worldwide. We shut them all down, but we still wanted to get everybody out the information. 3 days of content. We recorded that content here. And we translated that content and put it up on a virtual platform in more than 500 languages, more than 100 sign languages in themselves. And so we believe as an organization that while people can understand other languages, many can understand English, French, and Spanish, the three probably largest languages in the world. But when you think about it, that's not what they're speaking at home. And so we want the message of God's word to be spoken to their hearts, not just their heads. And when somebody can stream 3 days of content in the language of their heart, it has a powerful effect in their lives, and that's what we're after. We're after changing lives because the word of truth has a powerful effect on people.
Yes, yes. Excellent. How many other languages does the Jehovah's Witness website provide content for?
Well, we talked about patois, we talked about English. There's only 1,050 more. 1,052 languages. Yeah, we're not. We don't cover it all yet, but we're working on it. We continue to progress. In fact, just during COVID, we've released 77 new translations of the Bible in indigenous languages or in the different languages. So we're over 200 now. We will continue to produce that because we feel that content needs to be provided for everybody.
Are there any upcoming events that we should know about in the area?
Well, yeah, every congregation in the world will have a special talk coming up in April, and they could tune into that virtually. And that special talk, which unifies all 120,000 congregations of Jehovah's Witnesses, where can you find hope? Where can you find real hope? Beautiful theme, because today when we think about people, many are hopeless. They've put their trust in educational institutions, political institutions. All of them have let them down, and they don't trust anybody. That's why this whole subject of hope reaches the heart. It's very powerful to people. We want people to find hope in God's kingdom, and this talk will help them to do that.
Well, thank you guys so much. Pamela or Robert, is there a website that we can go to find out more? Because we can talk all day and really do church.
Well, yes, jw.org is the website, and we have 200,000 publications on jw.org and JW Library, 600,000 audio and videos on that site, and 1,052 languages. Everything we've ever written since 1950 is available through that website. So it's a wonderful resource for people of all the nations.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Robert J. Henriks III, thank you. We appreciate you guys. And thank you for sharing. And God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Been great being here. Thanks for the conversation.
And come back again, because we have to quote some more scripture.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. We'll take a break right here. Bobby C., he's up next with the latest in the world of sports right here on Open.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
America's pastime is in some trouble. We welcome in Two to the Sports Corner this morning here on BronxNet that are working very hard to save the game of baseball. Good morning to Kevin Gallagher and Pat Gagan. How's it going, guys? How are you?
Hi, Robert. Good. How are you?
So great to see you. I mean, before we get into your grassroots initiative and a book that has pretty much spearheaded this movement, I had to get your take on your thoughts on baseball's labor dispute and whether or not we will see Major League Baseball in 2022.
You'll see it. Don't know when, but it's kind of the same old thing. It's all about money. That's just the way it is. It's disturbing. And part of the in a way, I'm kind of glad they're doing it right now as we're launching to Save the Game, because it's all about the discontent of the average fan and the youth of America around baseball. That's just adding to the fuel to the fire that we're fanning right here today. So.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I always used to count down when Thanksgiving rolled around. I used to count down to how many days was the pitchers and catchers, and I think pitchers and catchers, if they show up on time, is probably about 15 days away. But to Kevin's point, I don't know when that's going to be right now. So we shall see.
And gents, I really feel that the sport has taken some lumps here in 2022. I mean, not only the labor dispute, but the latest news from Cooperstown and the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I think it's really tough to say, how is baseball going to basically repair its image? Because right now, its image is not in a good place.
Well, it's funny because Major League Baseball is probably the only sport that has a confrontational relationship with their fan base, right? And it didn't just happen the last week. It's been going on for a while. They don't necessarily always listen to the fan. And what we're trying to do is give a voice to the fan here with our movement, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, which is Save the Game. But it's going to take some repairing. And the past few weeks haven't helped. That is the basis of what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the fan and the sport together a little bit and kind of help repair that relationship through some of the efforts we have.
So you mentioned it, Kevin, from a larger perspective, the game struggles really are happening at the youth level. Both of you guys played college baseball. Kevin, you played at Pace. Pat, you were born here in the Bronx and you played at Mercy. Tell us more about Save the Game.
I'll start off, Pat. You can fill in where I miss and add on to it. So Save the Game it's a national movement that's designed to bring about change in baseball, okay? And the reason we're doing it is our fear and our concern, and many others, is that baseball, MLB, could be irrelevant in 15 years. And why do we say that? We say that because they're not engaged with the youth of the country, right? The youth of the country are not supporting Major League Baseball at sufficient levels so that in 15 years, when we move on, the average age of a TV viewer for baseball is 57. So there's a lot of guys in the 60s and 70s. As they move on, they need to be replaced like any business. You need new customers. And they're not appealing to the youth of America with a game that they've changed to an all-power game, which is a 3-outcome game, strikeout, walk, home run, with very little action in between the 2.46 home runs you get per game. And so the kids aren't watching, the youth aren't watching. Only 20% of Gen Zers are baseball fans. 7% of kids under 18 only watch baseball, 7% of the children. The youth participation is down 26%. And we factor in it's going to be down another 18%. So that they're in danger, but we don't believe they're looking at the long term. They're looking at now. And Save the Game is a movement to try to bring attention to that fact and to align with Major League Baseball to try to fix the game at the top and down at the youth level where the new fans and new customers are going to come from.
Yeah, to Kevin's point, that statistic about a 26% decline in youth participation rate. So that's for kids 6 to 12, right? So, growing up in the Bronx, I played in Kingsbridge Little League over on Bailey Avenue, and I would look forward to having games and practices all the time, right? And what Kevin and I are really concerned about is that because of the lack of teaching of the fundamentals and the lack of action in the game, these kids are now focused on other things. They're focused on esports. They're focused on other sports, lacrosse, other sports. Now, they're all fine sports, but, we have a passion for the game of baseball. And what we've seen happen over the past couple of decades is quite honestly astonishing to us as, guys that, were born and bred on baseball and will die, living baseball. So, we really need to fundamentally change how the youth of America are engaging in the game of baseball.
And Bobby, see, before you jump in there, this is not Pat and I talking. We've talked to dozens of general managers, active and ex, We've talked to owners, we've talked to scouts, we've talked to dozens of ex-players. Everyone to a person has said, yes, you guys are on it. How can we help? A lot of them can't step out because they're getting paid by MLB, but they all recognize the problem that the game is slowed down, that the baseball's in the entertainment business, and they're competing against Netflix and Amazon and Sony PlayStation and NFL and NBA and Premier Soccer League and everything else that's going on every night when you turn the TV on, and kids aren't watching because the game is slowed down so much. And we need to fix that. And this movement is geared to get 1 million signatures that we can bring to Major League Baseball, okay, and gather that discontent that's out there into a single voice and not a million voices disappear every day. And so that's the intent that we have with this movement.
No, great stuff, guys. And I mean, obviously anybody here in the Bronx that watches the Yankees, or even if you're a Met fan and you watch the Mets, you know, anytime you tune into a baseball game these days, especially the Yankees with all their home run hitters, everything is a home run or pretty much a strikeout. And I think the young kids in today's game kind of get the impression that if you're not hitting the long ball, you're not a good player.
Right. The NFL had 4 of the best games they had last week. Each of those games drew 40 million people. The World Series just drew 11 million people, right? You talk about the Yankees. Don Mattingly said in the last couple of months, baseball needs to change. He said that baseball is unwatchable sometimes because there's nothing going on. Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, at his end-of-year conference, said we need to field a different team next year, one that puts the ball in play more often. We just leave too many men on base. It's all about this. It's a 3-outcome game. 34% of the game is between the pitcher and the catcher. Walk, strikeout, home run. It's boring. There's no movement in the game. One more, I always use this analogy about the entertainment in a sport like football is not the touchdown, Bobby C. It's the drive down the field that takes 15 minutes. 3rd and 6, you go for it. 4th and 1, you pick it up. Sideline play. The march down the field, the towels are going. That's called entertainment. In baseball, it's the rally. It's not the single 30-second event of a home run that happens suddenly and we sit back down. It's the rally, right? It's let's go Mets, let's go Yanks. For 15 minutes, people praying in their hands. That's called entertainment. And that's the business they're in. They're not in the baseball business. They're in the entertainment business. And we need to provide more entertainment so the kids at the lower levels begin to watch the game. And we need to teach them how to hit the ball so they play the game.
I don't know if you saw the Theo Epstein podcast with Ryan Rucco and CC Sabathia a couple of weeks ago, where he talked about, you go back to the birth of statistics, which is the sabermetricians back around Moneyball time, right? And he made a comment, I'm paraphrasing, that, maybe we've gone too far from an analytics perspective. To your point, right? There's only 3 outcomes that are happening in a baseball game these days. There's either a home run, a walk, or a strikeout. The strikeout ratio is up to 24 per game. And he made a comment that you're facing Sandy Koufax every night. That is just unheard of. And, for people that know Sandy Koufax, he started out throwing real hard, but then he learned how to control his, fury, so to speak. But not everybody is a Sandy Koufax. And, the genesis of this movement started with Kevin's book and the 8 steps that are in that book and a process on how to make contact with the ball. So Theo is kind of agreeing that, hey, maybe we've gone too far with statistics and analytics.
And he's the one that was a spearhead in that years ago. And he said, I was wrong. We've gone too far. And then just so you know, we haven't mentioned it yet, but the website that we're trying to drive people to is www.savethegameus.com, savethegameus.com. And on there's a petition. It'll explain everything that's going on, why, and a petition to sign to get to the 1 million signatures. So
that was part 1 of our interview on Save the Game of Baseball. Tune in next week for part 2.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Thanks for hanging out with me. Our next guest is a writer, public speaker, public advocate, and consultant on the subject of parking tickets. You're going to want to know because we get them, right? People get parking tickets. He's here today to speak to us about his latest book, The New York City Parking Survival Guide. You're going to want one. So please welcome to the show, Lou Camporeale. Louis, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. Pleasure to be here again.
Big Lou has the big book that everybody's looking to get. Last time we spoke, you had a different version of the book, but you put them out. It's a wealth of information. People are getting them. And do you envision parking fines increasing in 2022? People are getting these fines, but you have a book to try to ease the pain a little bit.
Well, the book is very informative, and it gives everybody the basic information that they need to know in order to understand the majority of the parking laws that they'll be coming in contact with on a regular basis, as well as things, if they do get a summons, things to look for in the summons itself, so they can perhaps get a defense for it, have an affirmative defense, or look for technical defects that will result in an automatic dismissal. So we finally got the book in since the last time we spoke, and it's about double the size of the second edition because there's just so much more information that did not exist and so many more issues that did not exist during the second edition that just had to be included in here simply because, again, there's just so much more for people to deal with.
What's some of the new additions to the book?
Well, some of the things I talk about are the proliferation of red light cameras, speeding cameras. This is something that was, well, at the very least, red light cameras were an issue for the second edition, but speeding cameras are now everywhere. You cannot travel across the city without seeing several along your route. So this is something that motorists need to be aware of.
Yeah, so you got speeding cameras mixed in with the red light cameras.
And you also have bus cameras, bus lane cameras, which you did not have.
Oh, yeah. That's right. If you sit in a bus stop, that bus can be taking a picture of you and your license plate.
And I know plenty of people who've gotten those summonses.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. You know, the funny thing, well, it's not funny. You know, you have the bicycle lanes and you have all kinds of things riding in those bicycle lanes, even motorized motorcycles with a license plate on it. Mm-hmm. Then you got the unicycles, you got just about everything.
You have rules that everybody can operate by, that they're there to avoid collisions. They're there so that everybody understands what they're supposed to do in a given situation. And a lot of times, bicyclists, e-bikes, e-scooters just operate outside of the realm of regular motor vehicle laws. And a lot of times you'll always hear of when a car hits a pedestrian or when a vehicle hits a cyclist. A lot of times we don't hear anything when these scooters run into pedestrians. And that's an issue. They're basically unregulated and are just a swarm that pedestrians and motorists have to negotiate.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're waiting to cross and the traffic is going one way, but with the invention of that lane there, you got to look both ways because a bike can be coming the other way also.
If in fact they're using the lane.
The cars are going one way.
Right. And that's if in fact they're using the lane. As a pedestrian myself, when I'm not driving, of course, there are times where I have come this close to being clipped by an e-scooter or an e-bike. And these
something going the other way. Keep going. Yeah, yeah. So you're saying that should be regulated also, but they don't have a plate. Do they put a little tag on the vehicle or what?
All motorized bikes should have a license plate, particularly motorcycles. Those are regulated by the state. But the e-bikes, the scooters do not have any type of regulation. And during the pandemic, these types of vehicles, because people didn't want to take the train, were just proliferated. And now you're trying to get the mosquitoes back into the bottle, and it's be very difficult to do that.
And then plus you have the restaurants, and you know, it's all good. We all wanted to eat outdoors and everything, but they have these sidewalk cafes, so it makes it a little tougher for cars to be able to park, and that's probably why they get more tickets.
Exactly. In fact, we spoke about this in our last interview, particularly in neighborhoods where you have large concentrations of restaurants. You have large sections of on-street parking that's been now taken over for dining. And in some instances, a lot of restaurants have closed and the structures still remain. They're not even being used. So this is something that the city really needs to readdress, because as they want people to have commerce, they want people to go to restaurants, but how, if you're not in walking distance of a restaurant, what are you supposed to do? Drive around for half an hour looking for parking?
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for restaurants. I love a lot of the restaurant cafes. I'm all for having everybody have the free will to do their bike riding and use that bike lane, but the cars have to be involved in this also. Lou, tell us briefly, how can motorists avoid driving tickets this year?
The easiest thing to do, Bob, is to pay attention to where you're parking. In fact, last week, a friend of mine parked on a street in Manhattan, got a summons for $165 because he didn't read all the signs.
Yeah.
And he could have parked there after 7 o'clock, but not between the hours of 7 and 7. So the main thing that I've always told people, pay attention to where you're parked, read the signs, don't take anything for granted.
Yeah. Where can we go to get more information? You have a website?
We have a website where you can find out much more information and purchase the book if you're interested. It's nycparkingtickets.info.
Thank you so much. Lou Camporeale. Yeah, he has that book, and he's the author of that book, The New York City Parking Survival Guide. Very much needed. It's in Barnes & Noble, and we can go to your website and get it also, right, Lou?
Yes.
Lou. Big Lou. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Lou. Lou Camporeale, author, New York City Parking Survival Guide. If you're getting a ticket, you want to see Lou, pick up that book. All right, that about does it for us. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. Remember, whether you say you can or you can't, either way, you're right. I'll catch you over 107.5 WPLS, and we'll leave you with this. I was at a candlelight vigil in honor of the NYPD heroes, Jason Rivera and Wilbert Mora from the 32nd Precinct. Check it out.
Can go to the market and get home safely. They show up every single day for us.